prosperous society in the Northwest Province, we undertake this journey cognizant of our historic mission toward the attainment of a united, non-racial, non-sexist, democratic, and prosperous South Africa. At the well post to celebrate the Nelson Mandela International Day on what would have been his 106th birthday, we must be reminded to emulate the legacy of this gallant fighter of our liberation, Istalandwe Saparangwe Utata Madiba, in our mission to resolve the stubborn legacy of colonial system which continues to define our lived experience. Our communities still live in abject condition of poverty, and they are looking on us to continue improving their lives. The successive government of the African National Congress has done well in fighting against the poverty and deprivation of the past 30 years, but as the old English adage says, good is not good when best is possible, close quote. We will never rest until poverty is totally alleviated in all our communities and every single citizen of our country live above the poverty line. Indeed, it is still in our hands to combat poverty and inequality. As Nelson Mandela said while addressing the scourge of poverty, and I quote, like slavery and apartheid, poverty is not natural. It is man-made and it can be overcome by the action of human beings, close quote. Nelson Mandela was outstanding revolutionary, a selfless, dedicated combatant, a much respected and admired leader of the people. He dedicated his entire life to the cause of freedom and was an embodiment of the Revolutionary Alliance of the African National Congress, South African Communist Party, and Progressive Labour Movement. Working with other titans in his generation, they took it upon themselves to organize and educate our people to become the makers of history. They unleashed the enormous energies of the masses of the people, creating a mighty force which not even the armed might of the brutal apartheid state could vanquish. They took upon themselves to stand and fight side by side with the ordinary people to achieve a democratic and a free country. They made those sacrifices without any expectation of personal gain or glory, but driven by commitment and love of their people. This indeed provides us with a great lesson that we as public representatives should seek to emulate. Honorable Deputy Speaker, the Freedom Charter and our Constitution open with the following words, and I quote, "We, the people," close quote. As an emphasis that our success depends upon the ability of our country and government to make the people present through a participatory democracy. Ours is a government that is based on the will of the people and represents the interests of the people through its operations. The Freedom Charter set out a vision of society to which we still subscribe, one that is egalitarian, free of racism, sexism, and inequality. It was under the influence of the Charter that we saw the inclusion of full socio-economic rights into our Constitution. Honorable Deputy Speaker, since the advent of democracy, our ANC-led government has done remarkably well in realizing the freedom that our gallant leaders fought for. For an example, the Freedom Charter called on us to, open quote, open the door of learning and culture for all, close quote. In the last 30 years, we have taken great stride to achieve this noble goal. We have invested most of our government resources toward education and health, more than any other country in the African continent. For us to fully achieve the vision outlined in the Freedom Charter, we must make education everybody's business. We must be reminded that our task is to continue improving the life of the people and to continue uniting our people and reject any division which is based on the logic of inferior and superior beings, and which divide our people along race, class, gender, language, culture, geographical location, knowledge, and any other form. It is this global system of power and imperial design that Madiba sacrificed his life to eradicate it. We dare not fail him and gallant struggle heroes of this time. At the seventh legislature, united by our common mission across the political spectrum of attaining a united society with improved service delivery, we must strive to create a platform for our people to participate in our program and influence policy development and implementations through our constitutional mandate processes of lawmaking, oversight, and public participation. Like Nelson Mandela, we must dedicate our services to the attainment of fundamental right of our people as enshrined in the Constitution, and we must draw inspiration from his word at the dock whilst facing his high treason at the Rivonia trial when he said, and I quote, "During my lifetime, I have dedicated to this struggle of the African people. I have fought against white domination, and I have fought against black domination. I have cherished the ideal of democratic and free society in which all people live together in harmony with equal opportunities. It is an ideal which I hope to live for, to achieve, but it need be, it's an ideal which I'm prepared to die." Close quote. We must undertake cognizance of the fact that no democracy can flourish if the masses of the people remain in poverty, without land, without water, without real prospect of a better life. The work of the legislature should assist in translating political freedom into socio-economic freedom, and we must be steadfast to fulfill our mission of being a vibrant legislature that is responsive to the challenges of development facing our people. The legislature must do things differently, expeditiously, and efficiently, and we must adopt the spirit of itlhaganele mogaetsho in the execution of our constitutional mandate. Conscious of the fact that we are not directly responsible for the provision of services in the next 5 years, we must therefore strive to be the bridge between the people and the government by ensuring effective oversight over the action of the executive, by strengthening the scrutiny over the work of the executive against the need of our citizenry, ensuring heightened public involvement in the activities of the legislature, especially those that have impact on their lives. Providing effective lawmaking and effectively dealing with the old order laws, especially those that were inherited from the former homeland regime. Effectively dealing with petitions from the members of the public, thereby restoring public confidence in the ability of the legislature to intervene when the plight is brought to the attention of the legislature. Honorable Deputy Speaker, in order to give effect to the priorities of the seventh Parliament, legislature has been allocated a budget of 520,322,000 rand. This budget is allocated into three main programs: administration, 261,960,000 rand; statutory payment, 49,774,000 rand; legislature operation, 280,642,000 rand. In total, the budget of the legislature is 520,332,000 rand. Overall, the budget of the legislature has increased from 503,392,000 rand to 520,332,000 rand in the financial year 24-25. As we commence with the seventh legislature, our immediate task is to develop the 5-year strategic plan for 24 to 2030 financial year. We are enjoined to develop a 5-year strategic plan by the provision of Section 13, 14, and 17 of the Financial Management of Parliament and Provincial Legislature Act, which requires that with within 6 months after the election of the provincial legislature or by another date determined by Parliament, the accounting officer must prepare and present to the executive authority a draft strategic plan for the legislature's administration. The strategic plan of the Northwest Provincial Legislature em- will embody the strategic intent and outcome goals of the institution and provide measures and target of how the strategic plan will be realized. The development of strategic plan of the legislature will be an inclusive process which will ensure that no one is left behind from all the represented parties at the legislature to the lowest ranking official of the legislature. The process of the development of this strategic plan will be guided by our constitutional, legislative, political, and strategic priorities, underpinned by the implementation of the election manifesto of the African National Congress and the national government priorities as pronounced in SONA and SOPA. Conscious of the fact that the Northwest Legislature is operating within the South African legislative sector, we will also take a leave from the sector priorities as contained in the legislative sector strategic plan. Our strategic plan will therefore be geared to propel us towards ensuring that we accelerate the pace of development by exercising oversight on the plans of government, especially those aimed at providing services to the people, ensuring meaningful public participation in the legislative and other processes of the legislature, and passing relevant laws that will facilitate the provision of service to the people and bringing meaningful transformation to the lives of the people. We will soon announce the roadmap which will lead to the development of inclusive strategic plan of the legislature. Deputy Speaker, our people have entrusted us with the responsibility to safeguard their interests, and we must therefore ensure that those who are entrusted with the responsibility to address issues affecting the citizen do so without fail. We must ensure accountability on the exercise of government action by requiring a scrutinizing all the relevant information from the government and other organs of state. According to the former Queensland Parliamentary Criminal Justice Committee, and I quote, accountability may be defined as operating where a relationship exists in which an individual or body and the performance of task function conferred upon the individual or body are subject to another's oversight, direct or request that they provide information on their action to justify those actions. The provision of information is central to ensuring accountability. Close quote. An individual or body can only truly be held accountable to those who have access to relevant information on all aspects of their operation. The oversight process of legislature is guided by the Northwest Provincial Legislature Oversight Model, which has been adopted by the 5th Legislature. Although the model has provided an important instrument in the execution of oversight work, the model will be reviewed to bring into line with modern technological development and other developing trends in the execution of oversight work. We will therefore require our research team to conduct more work in order to assist in reviewing the model. We welcome the increase in the number of members in the legislature by at least 5 more members. Although we have wished to have more members, we welcome and accept that what we have. The increase in the number of members has enabled us to unbundle some of the departmentally related portfolio committee, and we have now increased 2 more additional portfolio committee compared to the previous term. This will assist us to have at least 2 portfolio committees sitting at the same time, and will do more work in less time. We have already put this model in practice during the budget hearing, and we can safely say that members of legislature are representative in charge in these changes and are prepared to work even more extra hours. We have no choice but to work beyond the normal working hours, as we all know that we are a very small legislature. Honorable Deputy Speaker, oversight and public accountability are essential aspects of democratic government and accord public representatives with an opportunity to measure the extent to which the executive branch of the state is able to deliver on the mandate conferred by the voters. In exercising our oversight responsibility, emphasizing Emphasizing must be placed on systematic problem relating to financial performance management. Oversight committees must therefore focus on ensuring that there is accountability and consequence management, implementation of proper financial discipline, adequate performance management, and proper reporting. In doing so, the following key objectives of the oversight must be achieved. The legislature must be able to detect irregular, wasteful, and fruitless expenditure in its endeavor to ensure that the government resources are utilized, properly and for the betterment of the livelihood of the people. The legislature must ensure that policy priorities announcement by government and authorized and funded by the legislature are implemented. Cheers. And the exercise of the oversight function must translate into improvement in rendering of services to the people and improved government, which must manifest through improved audit outcome. We must therefore assess the impact of our oversight process in order to determine the extent to which it is contributing to the improvement of delivery of basic services to our people, as well as impacting on financial management and good governance. As we enter into oversight agreement with government department and other organs of state in line with the oversight model, we must ensure that when they table their 5-year strategic plan, the annual performance plan, medium-term strategic framework, the quarterly performance report, and the annual performance report, they do so with clearly defined indicators, with defined time frame to enable them to be effectively monitored. When conducting oversight, we must always bear in mind that we are collectively responsible for the delivery of services to the people, and that failure in the service delivery does not only reflect badly on the government, but also speak to the very shortcomings of the oversight and accountability measures. The golden thread of our oversight must be that oversight is pursued for common good of the people, and although it must be robust, it must never be confrontational. Robust, but not confrontational. Honorable Deputy Speaker, the successive report of Auditor General reveals that the legislature did not do well with regard to the follow-up on the resolution passed by this August House. And as a result, most of the resolutions that we are passing are repetitive. This is an area that needs special attention. We will request the research unit of the legislature to compile a list of outstanding resolutions pertaining to each department so that there must be a special focus on implementation of these resolutions. We also have revived the Standing Committee on Legislative Review, Petition and Implementation of House Resolution, and we will program it more often to ensure that it takes the center stage in the follow-up on the implementation of House resolutions. We will also require the Portfolio and Standing Committee have a standing agenda item requiring the department to report on progress in the implementation of the House. This, in turn, will also require that the resolutions that are passed by the House are meeting SMART principles. Honourable members, this financial year, we will further increase the proactive oversight visit and focus intervention research visit. Our ultimate goal is to intensify proactive interventionist oversight approaches and gradually shift away from reactive method of oversight that rely on scrutiny of departmental report. We will therefore take active steps to increase the resources base and capacity of the Portfolio Committee commensurate to the service delivery demand of our people. We will enhance our working relation with the institutions supporting democracy, your Chapter 9, so that their report could enrich the oversight work done by our Portfolio Committees. In this regard, we are at the advanced stage to sign a memorandum of understanding with the Office of the Public Protector, SALGA. We will continue to participate in Association of Public Accounts Committee and such COPEC in order to sharpen our skill, but also to provide the necessary support to municipal public account committees through the Provincial Speakers Forum. Cheers. Our standing rules need to be updated and address some instances where contradictions have been identified by the Rules Committee and other members of the legislature. There is therefore an imminent task identified by all party leaders to immediately align with the changes that are on a horizon and to ensure that government structures such as the Chief Whip Forum are empowered to execute their tasks more efficiently. We are blessed with the first female chief whip, who the first female chief whip of the house, and we will not impede her office from discharging her responsibility. Honorable members, the first task at hand for the chief whip and the entire whippery structure is to restore dignity and commitment toward the work of the legislature. And we are confident that the multi-party whippery is up to that task. May I remind members of the House that our permanent delegates to the NCOP are available to ensure that provincial interests are taken into account at the NCOP, where members of the House need to ask questions on matters of exclusive national competence or have matters that must be taken through the NCOP. This must be done through permanent delegates. The permanent delegates of the NCOP are not representing the political parties, but are representing the province and even parties that do not have permanent delegates and entitled to make use of them. We will, we will ensure that our permanent delegates are more visible in the province and that they attend and participate in the legislature sitting in line with Section 113 of the Constitution. It cannot be correct that we only interact with our permanent delegates during the provincial week. Honorable Deputy Speaker, the commitment that we made in the Freedom Charter that people shall govern, we will be truly realized while the sphere of local government stabilize and execute its constitutional mandate without fail. It's only at that level government where citizens interfere directly with their government. And its foundational ethos, therefore, is about serving people. The core service that local government provide are basic human rights and essential component of the right to dignity enshrined in our Constitution and Bill of Rights. As already alluded to, we will revise our memorandum of understanding with speakers of municipality to foster relationship with this important sphere of government. We will use this as a tool of providing support to local government through the Provincial Speakers Forum. We will provide support to municipal speakers to build the necessary capacity for them to drive the developmental agenda of their municipalities. Honorable members, the legislature is constitutionally mandated to perform its legislative making function through passing provincial legislation and participate in the national legislative process. The participation in the national legislative process is regulated by the Mandating Procedures of Provinces Act number 52 of 2008. It is therefore necessary to deal with provincial nationally lawmaking separately. Honorable members, although the legislature is able to pass all bills introduced with the time frames of the Constitution, as a province, we are not doing well on the aspect of provincial lawmaking processes. There is a need for legislature to claim its space insofar as the lawmaking process is concerned. The term legislature presuppose a body that make laws, and therefore we must increase the number of laws that are introduced by individual members and various committees of the legislature. It is concerning that 30 years into democratic government, we still have absolute and old order laws from the former administration. This is indeed a launch and assault on these laws as they hinder transformation and they stand as a reminder for the past dark days. We will pay special attention to these old order laws, whilst at the same time we continuously equip our members with requisite short course intervention on legislative drafting and policy analysis. We will work together with the institution of higher learning to ensure that capacity of members is introduced, private members' bills and committee bills is enhanced. Honorable members will continue to fully participate in the national lawmaking processes, and we have provided all mandate to the NCOP that were required. However, we continue to experience challenges on synergizing the work of NCOP to that of the legislature, as some mandates are required when the legislature is in the middle of considering budget vote or annual report. This put a strain on the program of the legislature, and at times we do not have enough public participation before we confer the mandate. This is undesirable as in terms of the Constitution. We must do full public participation before the bills are passed. We will continue to raise this matter with the NCOP until a permanent solution is found. We are going to have regular interaction with our permanent delegates so that they are abreast with everything that is happening in the province, including our program. In this way, we'll be able to raise an alarm at the NCOP if we are required to provide mandate on date that will not suit us. While the number of bill passed is a strong indicator toward the successes of legislators' performance on the aspect of lawmaking, it must however be weighed against the quality of our engagement and the importance of laws on the ground. The legislature must therefore also monitor the assess the impact of the legislation passed since the dawn of democracy, and where gaps are identified, they must be brought to the attention of the executive through the oversight processes. To achieve this, we also need agile research support services. Honorable members, one of the responsibilities bestowed on us by Section 118 of the Constitution is to facilitate public involvement in lawmaking and other processes of the legislature. Honorable Deputy Speaker, the legislative sector has adopted the public participation framework for the sector. The purpose of the framework is to standardize the manner in which we are conducting public participation across the sector. We will review the public participation framework to ensure that it speaks to the current requirements and is responsive to the needs of our people. In line with the public participation model, we will employ mechanisms such as educational workshops, information material distribution, the use of electronic media, social media, roadshows, among others, to reach to our people of the province. We trust this mechanism will contribute to heighten and maximize public participation in the governance of the province. In order to intensify public participation and education, the legislature will host 4 sectoral parliaments during this financial year. We will also host taking legislature to the people to ensure public participation and hold the executive accountable on issues of service delivery and matters raised by communities across the province. As part of ensuring women empowerment and participation in the province, as President Ramaphosa said, and I quote, "We shall leave no one behind," close quote. Although our public participation process has been hailed as satisfactory by the Constitutional Court in the Mohale Constitutional Court case, there is a room for improvement. We need to beef up pre-public hearings so that those who make input at the public hearing in the respective capacity to do after having been mandated by the rest of the people they are representing. We will also ensure that we do not see the same faces in our public hearing so that our public hearing represents the broad spectrum of our society. Honorable Deputy Speaker, in the Freedom Charter, we committed that there shall be peace and friendship with the world and the people of Africa in particular. In pursuance of this agenda, we will strengthen our relationship with the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. Together with the legislature, we shall provide all necessary support towards strengthening the South African region of the southern region of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. We will make our voice heard. We are not going there to be participant. We are going to take control and make sure that our voice is heard in that parliament. We will also participate in other international structures such as the Conference State of Legislators and all other forums that will empower members of the provincial legislature with international best practice. There is remarkable progress in the financial management of legislature, which is characterized by the decline in the level of irregular expenditure. We have just advertised several posts that are aimed at building internal capacity, especially on financial reporting, with intention to move away from consultant. We will also decide to launch a war against the payment of service providers and will ensure that a period of 30 days is slashed to at least 20 days. This will ensure that we do not suffocate the service provider and squeeze them out of business. The beginning of seventh term requires that we must reorganize ourselves to determine whether we are properly organized administratively to discharge the new mandate. The process to develop this institutional strategic plan will therefore be followed by review of organizational structure and the job evaluation process, as well as person to post skill matching. We have observed critical weaknesses in functional areas such as supply chain management, financial management, committee support, and we will use the organogram review to ensure that these critical functional areas are beefed up. The Financial Management of Parliament and Provincial Legislature Act imposes stringent reporting requirements, and it becomes necessary to beef up these critical functional areas so that we may be fully complement with the dictate of the Act. Honorable members, we will continue to work closely with the legislative sector in rolling out accredited training for members of the legislature to sharpen their skill. Our intention is to ensure that at the end of the legislative term, members who do not wish to continue with being members of the legislature or who, for other reasons, are not returning, will be able to compete on for available opportunities in the job market. We will engage with the University of the Northwest, being the local university, to develop tailor-made courses that are aimed at enhancing the capacity of members of the legislature. We take this opportunity to encourage members of the legislature to register for academic courses through the bursaries of the legislature. Although we are encouraging members of the legislature to study, we will monitor the studies more closely, and where there is no progress or where we observe lack of commitment, we will hold members accountable so that there is no waste in the resources of the legislature. In order to support members who are pursuing their studies, we are also going to arrange short courses such as training on research methodology and similar interventions, whilst at the same time we are encouraging members to utilize the bursary opportunities of the legislature. We will stand firm against wastage, and any person who does not show commitment in his or her studies. Honorable members, legislature is committed to support constituency offices because we solemnly believe that constituency offices are the extension of the legislature and may be strong entrance point to our communities. We therefore posed a challenge to the Chief Whip Forum to develop a business case justifying further support to the constituency offices. We must ensure that constituency offices are resource offices for the members of the public, and they offer the same services across the province, irrespective of the party serving the constituency office. Honorable members, the legislature shall continuously strive to ensure a creative, effective, efficient, and transformative administration that help the members of the legislature to fulfill their constitutional mandate. Lest we forget that and I quote, righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is reproach to any people. Proverbs 14, verse 34. In conclusion, I wish to thank God, the creator of everything, my mom, my siblings, my husband, Ntate Mhono, my children, and more especially my little princess who always comfort me when I'm down, for their support, encouragement, and understanding. Your love and prayers are the reason I keep going, even when at times the going gets tough. Let me thank the former Speaker, Ms. Susana Danji, for the good work she has done in this legislature. I'm not starting from scratch. There is some way. We thank you very much, Honorable former Speaker, for your sterling work. To my beloved political home, the African National Congress, for giving me this rare opportunity to serve the nation with pride. I thank you. My special gratitude to the Deputy Speaker, Honorable Koza, Chair of Chair Memudise, the Chief Whip of the House of Majority Party, Mekosho, for their support. The Chief Whip is whipping me too. When she whip me, don't think it's you alone. Even me, I'm being whipped. But it's for a good cause so that we have a better legislature. So that the seventh administration legislature and all its members and of all parties represented in the House, people can look upon us and be proud to say Northwest Legislature is one of the legislature that one wish to be part of. The Premier, Honorable Mokhosi, and his executive for their comparative and participation during committee engagement of their APP. Special word of thanks to Standing Committee of Oversight on the Legislature, its chairperson, Honorable Groenewald, and members of the committee for your engagement in processing the current APP and the budget, and that you don't become nice because it's the speaker. You are robust in ensuring that what is good for the people of the Northwest, I don't forget myself. Why am I the speaker of this legislature? To the members of the Provincial Speakers Forum, thank you for warm welcome. All the speakers of the Northwest, thank you very much. You have welcomed me, and I'm looking forward to the journey ahead. I think I'll learn a lot on how you've been faring. My gratitude also go to the audit committee led by Mr. Maja, which is very hard at work during this time of audit. Your effort is not going unnoticed in enhancing our administration. We will ensure that all your recommendations and that of internal audit are implemented by management. We can only be better institution through your input and thought-provoking decisions. To all provincial heads, colleagues in Chapter 9 institution and Auditor General SA, the 7th Legislature is committed to cooperate and work with your offices. The support staff in the office of the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker, management of Legislature and staff under the stewardship of Advocate Neshitumbo, I salute you for all the hard work. It was not easy. Long hours you have put to make us successful in our work. Endurance and tolerance. I know it was not easy, but you kept the light burning. I'm grateful for that. Honorable members, management and staff, let us all continue to serve the people of the Northwest with integrity, respect, honesty, and to the best of our ability. We have all made our mark and we should be proud of ourselves. Honorable Deputy Speaker, allow me to table this in this August House the following document: Policy Budget Speech 2024-2025, Annual Performance Plan 2024-2025. I request this House to approve the budget for the Northwest Provincial Legislature. Vote 2. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Mohono. Thank you, Honorable Mohono. I now call the chairperson of the Standing Committee on Oversight of the Legislature, Honorable Groenewald to lead the debate on the committee report of the Northwest Provincial Legislature Annual Performance Plan 2024-2025. You have only 8 minutes, Honorable Groenewald.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker. I only need 4. Honourable Speaker, the Standing Committee on Oversight of the Northwest Provincial Legislature exercises oversight over the legislature through its assessment and a provincial-wide strategy support provided to the Northwest Provincial Government departments. The Constitution of the Public Finance Management Act creates a basis on which oversight of the legislature should be accomplished. The consideration and scrutiny of the Northwest Provincial Legislature Annual Performance Plan and Budget is the tool used by the Standing Committee to determine whether the Northwest Provincial Legislature has proper plans and programs to realize its strategic objectives and ultimately to conduct adequate oversight over the delivery of basic services to the citizens of the Northwest Province. The committee tabled this report in accordance with the provisions of the Rules and Order of the Northwest Provincial Legislature as an account of its oversight work done for consideration and adoption in order to monitor the spending on the budget allocated to the Northwest Provincial Legislature for the financial year. The strategic focus of the following priorities as per the committee: enhancing oversight over the executive, increased public awareness and thereby vigorous public participation, strengthening the law-making practice, and monitoring House resolutions. This will be performed over 3 programs, namely administration with effective and efficient administration, thus focusing on audit outcomes and compliance, statutory payments that speaks to accountable and transparent governance, and then legislature operations with public participation, strategy, and monitoring of the House resolution. Some of the inputs of the committee members is concerns raised on the tracking of the table House resolution that must be tracked, over reliance on consultants where personnel is being paid and the consultant is being paid for the same work. There must be adequate funding for the operations of the legislature and a stronger whippery. The committee also planned to benchmark so that they can become a sense of a standard that enhance professionality over the sphere of provincial governance. The Northwest Legislature must be the leader in professionalism, and it must start with us as members. This is our house and our responsibility, as a collective and as an individual. We must ensure democratic and accountable government to our communities and ensure that their voice, either through petition or public participation, be heard, as we are servants to the public, thus civil servants and not civil VIPs. This house can make a difference to enhance and promote democracy, but it's up to us. Let me close to say I'm looking forward to work as a collective house to implement professionalism, digital and other workable mechanisms and systems for a greater and a better government with exceptional governance. Therefore, I table this report for the Standing Committee on Oversight of the Legislature to the House for adoption. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Groenewald. Does the House agree to the report? Thank you. I will now call Honorable Dime of the ANC for the debate.
Ke a go leboga Musa Kgotla Ntate Tshepo Khoza ebile ke a go dumedisa le Musa Kgotla mme Desbo Mohono motlotlegi Tonakgolo Lasi Mokgosi maloko a komiti Khuduthamaga le maloko a kokwanope o molao ya rona baeng ba rona ba tlotlego. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Deputy Speaker, I feel truly honored and privileged as I stand in this podium of this distinguished chamber of the Democratic Legislature of the people of the Northwest on the occasion of your budget vote. The feeling is made poignant by the fact that we just emerged from successful 2024 national and provincial elections, which ushered this 7th legislature. This 7th activist legislature, which is a tribune of the people of the Northwest Province, represents hopes of the residents of this province. As our work begins, as representatives of various political parties, the legislature as the people's organ, united to attain a new era of unity, hope and progress, we should strive to provide platform for our people to influence policy and its implementation through processes of lawmaking and oversight and public participation. In so doing, we must pursue our conscious resolve to address the triple challenges of poverty, unemployment, and inequality, and ensure a capable, responsive developmental state as envisaged in our founding documents in the National Democratic Revolution or the National Development Plan. We are of a belief that the work of the activist legislature is charged with the responsibility to ensure the improvement of the quality of life towards fraternity, justice, equality, and freedom. This must be championed in line with the ANC strategy and tactics documents, which enjoins us to address the most acute manifestations of social fault line, which led to the society where unparalleled opulence live side by side with extreme levels of poverty and underdevelopment. We believe in the democratic vibrant people's assembly that intervenes to transform society and address developmental challenges of our people and also ensures effective oversight over the executive. We are of a view that the public participation is the center of activist legislature, and it ensures that people participate in the decision-making process that directs and affects them. Our humble view as the ANC is that the issues pertaining to petitions should be taken seriously. Issues that are deposited to the legislature through petitions must be resolved speedily and prompt feedback be given to our communities. We also submit that the legislature should develop a strategy for public engagement by having mobile app where our people will be able to lodge complaints and be able to interact with the legislature. We have also noted the concerning issues of public participation programs where people are not informed in time and find that same people attend the same public hearings. Yes. We call for the monitoring of the House resolutions, which will assist in making sure that critical resolutions and decisions taken by the legislature are implemented and given effect. We support the implementation of the e-Parliament strategy, which aims to use information and communication technologies to improve parliamentary processes. The issues of stagnation of allocation of political parties is deeply concerning, and we call on the House and the Honorable Speaker to consider it with a view of supporting the political parties for them to be able to carry out their duties effectively. Importantly, we also call for the increase of allocation to the political parties to include institutional support to the respective parties, increase their capacity and capability to execute their work effectively and efficiently. The institutional support to be extended to the office of the Chief Whip of the House to enable her to play the oversight role over this august House. We also emphasize that there must be opportunity for on-job training programs for the staff of the legislature and the members of the legislature.
2 minutes.
And members of the legislature to be able to empower them with the necessary skills. Deputy Speaker, we are also of a firm view that the role and the functioning of the capacity of the office of the Speaker must be enhanced to ensure that the oversight responsibility of the legislature are executed effectively and efficiently. It is the view of the ANC that this submission shall enable the re-engineering of the legislature administration to gather necessary skills and provide appropriate leadership and contribute towards effective policy making, monitoring and evaluation, and facilitate the implementation of the National Development Plan through vigorous oversight. In conclusion, Deputy Speaker, we as the ANC support the adoption of the budget vote of the Northwest Provincial Legislature 2024-2025. Ke go leboga go menagane raiso.
Thank you, Honorable Dial. I will now call Honorable Bukhatsu of the EFF. You have 10 minutes. 10 minutes.
Thank you, DS. DS, let me greet the leadership of the EFF led by Commissar Sheikh Botswe in his absence, members of the executive, led by the Honorable Premier, members of the Provincial Legislature, traditional leaders, and the community of Northwest Dumela. DS, the role of the legislature is to ensure accountability and transparency in terms of the affairs of the executive and to hold them accountable. The overall budget for 2024-25 shows a 3.1% increase from the previous financial year, rising from 503 million to 520 million, which does not show in the previous terms. The executive have enjoyed the flair of operating without accounting to anyone as it continued to enjoy the majority rule of the ANC-led government that seek no advice nor assistance from anyone. Honorable DS, the increase of portfolio committees should serve as a better hope for our people. It should serve as a new stepping stone to a more open and accountable government, but the semi-budget increase is a clear indication of accommodating salaries more than the oversight work that is entrusted within the legislature. DS, members of this House have been having difficulties to fulfill oversight duties outside the normal calendar of the legislature. Without completion, such as the previous Mutazwana building reports, the previous 3.4 billion rand building in Unit 6, and all standing blocked RDP houses that are left unaccounted for because of the limited resources of this particular portfolio. The number of SOM imperative studies has marginally increased from 164 to 167 targets. The slight increase is insufficient to address the growing complexities of legislative operations. DS, this annual performance plan aims for an unqualified audit opinion without matters of emphasis, as the speaker already explained. But however, recurring issues such as irregular and unauthorized expenditures and non-adherence to creditor payment deadlines persist. The legislature must develop and implement a robust strategy to address issues of unauthorized and irregular expenditures. This strategy should include regular monitoring, stringent financial controls, and accountability mechanisms. This APP must ensure that resolutions and petitions are given the attention they deserve to improve accountability and responsiveness. This can be achieved by setting up dedicated teams to handle resolutions and petitions promptly and effectively. DS, the limited increase is concerning as it undermines the legislature's ability to provide necessary support services to its members and employees. Comparing this with the previous term, it is evidence that there is no significant improvement in addressing administrative inefficiencies and financial mismanagement. The EFF demands a reassessment of this allocation to ensure that the administrative capabilities are not compromised. The members' salaries budget has increased by 26% from 37 million in 2023-24 to 49 million in 2024-25. While this increase might be justified for capacity building and political party transfers, the EFF insists on transparency and accountability in the utilization of these funds. In the previous term, similar increases were observed without corresponding improvements in legislative performance and capacity building outcomes. We need a detailed plan on how these additional funds will be effectively used. Honorable DS, the EFF proposes a thorough reassessment of budget allocation to ensure sufficient funding for administration and legislative operations. This includes redirecting funds from less critical areas to support essential administrative functions. We must establish more ambitious and clear performance targets to drive meaningful improvements. This involves setting specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound goals for all programs. The EFF recommends a comprehensive review and enhancement of capacity building initiatives. This includes developing tailored training programs for MPLs and ensuring that these programs result in tangible improvement in legislative performance, as the current bursary fund is not enough. Speaker, 60,000 in year. Honorable Speaker, and esteemed members,
Honorable member, you are left with 2 minutes.
peers of the Provincial Legislature, taking into cognizance the following mentioned concerns amongst many others, the economic freedom fighters categorically reject the proposed budget vote for the 2024 financial year. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Mokhatu. Order, honorable members. Order. I will now call Honorable Hestain of the DA. Honorable member, you have only 8 minutes.
Honorable Speaker, we are here today to consider the vote on the adoption of this committee's budget for 24-25. That's why we are here. But before we jump there, let us just quickly take a look at the legislature's functioning itself in the previous term. Now, your core mission for 24-25 has been laid out to this portfolio under what you could call 4 sub-missions. All right. So your first submission is to ensure a vibrant legislature that is responsive to the challenges of development facing our people. Now, the word vibrant is defined as energetic, bright, full of life and excitement. Speaker, very little meets this criteria when you enter the doors of this building. You can ask the Premier, even he agrees. The reason why I'm saying that is, why do you think Honorable Mokhosi elected to rather have his State of the Province address in a tent in a parking lot? Yes, Honorable Mokhosi, you're already preparing your reply, saying, but that's not the function of the Premier. You are correct, but it is Honorable Mokhosi's face who is associated with the SOPA. And it is his name that is also associated with that. So, Honorable Mokhosi, had your SOPA taken place in this house, what would your guests have been met with? Your guests would have been met with gardens that only survive because the Lord from above is taking care of them. They would have been met with empty remnants of what I can only assume should be fire pools inspired from when Zuma was still a comrade. A restaurant where his guests would not have been able to enjoy a cup of coffee because it has been closed since COVID. The cherry on top would have been guests not being able to even wash their hands in the restrooms, as soap dispensers don't work or are empty. And if they try to wash their hands, heaven forbid, they would be left with wet trousers because there aren't even hand towels in the bathrooms. I understand, Honorable Mokhosi, it's an embarrassment. These are the symptoms of a failing department that play out to the witness of all. We can comfortably say that, Speaker, this first submission has undoubtedly failed under the 2020-2025 NWPL strategic plan. Your second submission is to ensure an accountable executive and other organs of state by strengthening oversight. This means that committee members must be informed of resolutions taken and be provided with implementation registers to monitor which resolutions have indeed been implemented. I have to date not been furnished with an implementation register from the previous administration and have no clue what they decided. The failure goes so far, Speaker, that to date, I remain a faceless, nameless MPL on my membership card, only known as MPL number 17. This surely does not strengthen my ability to exercise oversight. So we can comfortably say that this submission, the second one, has also failed. Your third submission is to ensure the promotion of efficient and healthy intergovernmental relations between the three spheres of government. Today, we continue to see departments of different spheres of government working in silos. We can comfortably say that this submission under the 2020-2025 NWPL strategic plan has also failed. Your fourth submission is to ensure a creative, effective, efficient, and transformative administration that helps the members of the legislature fulfill their constitutional mandate. Sure, Speaker, that's quite the tall order. Creative, I have seen no sign of this. Effective, I have seen no sign of this. Efficient, which means maximum productivity with minimum waste. I have seen no sign of this. Transformative, well, hopefully this will entail transforming poor administration into good administration, for which I do look forward, Speaker. Now, we can comfortably say that this fourth submission has also failed under the 2020-2025 NWPL strategic plan. But let us look at the finances, Speaker. That's why we're here today. The intention is to spend the budget to the very last cent, which means that through oversight, we will be ensuring that each cent is spent efficiently and in line with the mission statement. This department has achieved unqualified audit reports for the past 2 years, 2022, 2023, and 23-24. The budget, as we see it, it is sensible, and as such, the DA will be adding our yes vote when the vote is called today. But the problems in this department, Speaker, that you have now unfortunately inherited are not financial in nature. There are major administrative challenges that will need to be overcome, and a lot of work lies ahead. I would like to have a chat with you about this over tea, but unfortunately our restaurant is still closed. Maybe in a few years' time we could do that. But let me close with a quote from your very speech, Honourable Mono. Good is not good when the best is possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Can I now call Honorable Tulo? Honorable Tulo, you have only 3 minutes.
As I'm standing in the existing protocol, Deputy Speaker, I tend to agree with Honorable Daily Ubuile Nete Jaaka motho a swa. The issues of public participation, where most of the time same people are attending, and other issues that you have raised, they are very much paramount for us as members of legislature, so that we are able to implement what we are supposed to implement for the people of Northwest. And I am going to agree, Honorable Deputy Speaker, that even if we are saying that we need not to be confrontational when we are doing oversight, by being vibrant, we need to be truth to honesty when we are doing some of these particular things. And effective oversight without being coerced by those affected, Honorable Speaker, I will very much be happy if it could be done in that particular manner, like you have indicated that we have been entrusted by our community members, not our electorates, to safeguard their interest in this particular regard. Let the provincial legislature oversight model work. It should not be a tool that is there and it will not assist us moving forward. The issues of resolutions, Honorable Deputy Speaker, as it has been indicated, let there be a resolution committee that will be looking at this particular implementation.
Honorable Member, you are left with 1 minute.
Once looking at the resolution number and when rescind be quoted clearly for record purposes, so that we are able to be seen moving. Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Tulo. Honorable members, I will now call Honorable Mangope. Honorable order. Honorable members, order. Honorable members, Honorable Mangope is not in the house, not even connected in our visual platform. I will then go straight to Honorable Khosho. Honorable Khosho, you have 10 minutes.
Thank you for the and let me also take this time to acknowledge our Premier, who has made an excellent state of the provincial addresses today. You've touched many hearts of our people. That's the feedback that we get. And congratulations. And appreciate an excellent maiden speech of our Speaker, who serves as a member of the legislature for the first time in the legislature in terms of committees, because most of your time you served in the Executive Council. So we congratulate you of the sterling message that you sent to restore hope to our communities. And members of the legislature, members of the Executive Council, our guests in the gallery, good morning. Deputy Speaker said, in fulfilling our mission to become a people-centered and activist legislature, we undertake this journey cognizant of our historic mission towards attainment of a united, non-racial, non-sexist, democratic, and prosperous South Africa, free from hunger and want. The vision of a revolutionary movement, the ANC, inspired us to imagine a better future for all, to build an ethical and capable developmental legislature. The current political discourse of public representatives in Parliament calls for an honest and intelligent approach where petty political scoring of points and immaturity must be condemned with utmost contempt it deserves. And that is why, honorable members, I am not responding to the comments made by the members of the opposition, because we are a multi-party legislature, where we must strive, when we debate on this vote 2 of the legislature, we must protect the interest of the people who have sent us to come and debate here. So petty politicking will not take us forward. We should not leave anyone behind as and when we represent their interests because they voted for us. So the budget vote of the legislature, unfortunately, we talk about ourselves. We make a reflection in a manner that as a collective, we must strive to advance for the interest of the poor, for the interest of the needy, for development of society, as a multi-party legislature. The central role of the legislature must restore hope as the last arbiter of the people. The 30 years of democracy as we journey through the 7th administration requires an organized and well-oiled machinery that is agile to an activist legislature that translates to people's lives to be better through strong oversight, accountability, public participation, public education, and feedback. I want to draw from Martin Luther King Jr. I want to draw from Martin Luther King Jr. his words, inspiring words. I quote, "I choose to identify with the underprivileged. I choose to identify with the poor. I choose to give my life for the hungry. I choose to give my life for those who have been left out of the sunlight of opportunity. This is the way I'm going. If it means suffering and sacrificing a little bit, I'm going that way because I hear the voice saying, do something for others," close quote. As a collective of multi-party activist legislature, the central role that we must play is to make the choice that we need to do better and let us address the needs of our people as a collective. Yes, we have mandates of our parties, but as we assemble in this house, we need to advance and advocate for the strong accountability tools, strong oversight, strong public participation, and be able to interact with our communities out there as we hold the executive accountable. The ANC since its birth has been on the side of the people, working with them side by side in the trenches, on the shop floor, and on the streets, with an unquenchable desire to liberate the toiling masses of our people from the clutches of poverty, unemployment, and inequality. Of course, you will raise, I've heard you, Honorable Member, through your Deputy Speaker, I would respond. Because we work as a collective, we must ensure that we uphold to the value system of the Constitution as members of the legislature. The ANC, since the advent of democracy, has adopted and implemented through the legislature pro-poor policies which are poised to ameliorate the plight of our people. In addressing the unfair mounting criticism directed at the ANC that the revolutionary movement has abandoned its policies, our president, Mtate Cyril Ramaphosa, had this to say at the ANC Siyangoba rally on the 25th May 2024, and I quote him: "The ANC government did not seek to disadvantage the majority of South Africans by implementing policies that would be seen as an anti-poor people." He further went to say, "The party would continue advocating for policies that would improve living conditions of South Africans." Close quote. He further said we would also want to scrap the inequality policies because we want our people to get fair opportunities like other races. The ANC-led government has created that enabling environment to ensure that there's constructive criticism, that we hold everyone accountable, but we are able also to table reports that can be able to change the policy positions which will touch the lives of our people. And as this legislature, as we debate in this platform about the vote 2 of the legislature, we should find ourselves galvanizing towards ensuring that policy frameworks, policies that has been tabled, policy statements made by MECs, we ensure that they are implemented, and we can only be doing that as we work as a collective. Hence, I said that the political discourse of the legislature in the 7th administration, there must be a game changer. And the game changer is that we need, through the whippery, we must work together. And I'm very happy, Madam